You're watching Rules of the Game with Bill Krug, brought to you by these fine sponsors. Albert Sporting Goods, American Legion Post 323, Auglaze Equipment Rental, Capabilities, David Wabacher Attorney, Eagles 767, FCA, Fowler's TV, Freedom Marketing Strategies, Grand Lake Roofing, Guarneri's Pizzeria, Jackalope Stash, Larry Schaff Auto Sales, Laura Yelton State Farm, MHS Alumni Foundation, Miller Funeral Homes, Minster Bank, Plus One Professional Real Estate, Ryder Rooters, Roots Pub, St. Mary's Foundry, Sean Barnett Electrical, Spees Chiropractic and Wellness Center, Spring Street Storage, TSC, and Varsity Lanes.
Hello, welcome to Rules of the Game with Bill Krug. Each and every week we bring local official Bill Krug into the locker room here. We look at clips from the previous Friday night's game. And Bill, thanks for being here again.
Thanks, Zach.
Bill, we got a lot of clips from the Rough Rider victory against Bath on Friday night. Before we begin, though, somehow the regular season is done for this year, and so playoffs are beginning. Wondered if you could talk a little bit about what the officials go through as playoff time starts.
Sure. In the last so many years, 4 or 5 years, the state has kept your crew together. So the crew that I work with every Friday night, we're going to have at least one game, maybe two. So this week I go to Liberty Benton, and it's our whole entire crew. After that, at week 3 into the playoffs is when you start getting put on different crews, and crews 1 through whatever it is. I can't think of what the number is. Then they move on each week, and they'll stay as a crew the rest of the way out to the state finals.
Are the first 2 weeks, when you cruise together, do they still send you to a certain place based on geographic?
Yeah, they try to keep you close to home. That was the whole point. And if you go over 50 miles, if you have to travel over 50 miles, you're going to get $1 a mile over 50. So they're trying to keep everybody in the same area. So like a few years ago, I had to go to New Bremen the first week, and we've went to St. Henry, and we've went other places. But they try to keep you pretty much in the vicinity.
And then when they do separate you and they have you go on different squads, how do they decide which official goes to which? Is it completely random? Is there any kind of grading process involved with that?
Yeah, there's a grading process. The coaches grade you after each game. Then the league commissioners get a say-so. There's quite a few people that get to grade you on how you've done through the year, and the higher your grades, they put those people together. And
so they try to get the best crews that they can in the playoffs.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, one of these days they'll let us here at Rider Nation Station and Rules of the Game maybe have a grade.
Have a vote.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got several clips from the game. We're going to jump right into those. Be sure to check us back on the other side of the break. We'll be back right after this.
You're watching Rules of the Game with Bill Krug, brought to you by these fine sponsors. Albert Sporting Goods, American Legion Post 323, Auglaze Equipment Rental, Capabilities, David Wabacher Attorney, Eagles 767, FCA, Fowler's TV, Freedom Marketing Strategies, Grand Lake Roofing, Guarneri's Pizzeria, Jackalope Stash, Larry Schaff Auto Sales, Laura Yelton State Farm, MHS Alumni Foundation, Miller Funeral Homes, Minster Bank, Plus One Professional Real Estate, Ryder Rooters, Roots Pub, St. Mary's Foundry, Sean Barnett Electrical, Spees Chiropractic and Wellness Center, Spring Street Storage, TSC, and Varsity Lanes.
Hello, welcome back to Rules of the Game with Bill Krug. Thank you to all of our sponsors. We couldn't do this without them. Jumping right into the clips here, Bill, we had another viewer question here.
Okay.
So the viewer noticed that on the left side of the Bath line, if you look at the left tackle, he was waiting extremely long to put his hand down, whereas the rest of the line had their hand down. Now, also, the slot receiver on that side went into motion. So the viewer was wondering, is that an illegal shift because there's technically two members moving, two offensive players moving at the same time?
Yes, it is. It's an illegal shift. The left tackle there, he's moving, putting his hand down to get set as the receiver's in motion. You can see him there. And so that's two in motion. Now, for this to be a legal play, that receiver that had went in motion across behind the line of scrimmage, he has to stop, and he has to be set for a full second. Everybody on the team has to be set for a full second after two people are moving at the same time.
So a good, astute observation there from our viewer.
Yes, it was.
And apparently the message that I got was that they were doing it several times during the first half, but somebody must have noticed it because they cleaned it up in the second half.
Okay.
This next play was a pretty clear face mask against the St. Mary's player there, kind of against the sidelines, this whole head ripped back and forth. Was on Dominic Osborne running a sweep towards the outside. You can kind of see right there.
Right there, yep. So 15 yards from that spot, because that was – there is still a 5-yard penalty, face mask penalty, but it is a grab and a release. If you move the head, if you grab that face mask and you move that head any direction, it's going to be a personal foul 15 yards from the end of the run, or from the spot if it's beyond the end of the run.
The next play was another one that we've seen a few times this year, a little encroachment from the defense, just sort of a jump right there.
Yep.
Obvious, but sometimes I'm not sure how many clips we're going to have, so I put some of the obvious ones in here.
Yeah, he was across, wasn't he? He knew it, too. You can see his reaction.
He jumped a couple times.
Yeah.
It was early in the game. I think he was just pretty excited there.
Trying to get that snap count.
Well, I think this next one was a pretty obvious false start from St. Mary's. I put this in here just to see, the St. Mary's wingback there, Osborne, seems to point at the other side like maybe they had jumped, or I wondered maybe he thought that they had called the signal or something.
Well,
but
I don't know if he thinks that, because watch the defensive lineman. He moves, and I think he wants them to call that he jumped off sides. Well, he's allowed to move. All he did was kind of stand up, and it looked like he was going to come across, but I don't think he made it across. And so the offense is going to be guilty on that one.
They can move all they want as long as they don't go into the neutral zone, right?
Exactly, right.
This one was interesting. So at the end of the play here, if you look at 91, Hertenstein for St. Mary's, his helmet came off, and during the game he had to come out of the game for a play. But do you think that it's very close? Do you think that it was ripped off there?
It doesn't look like it. Because, no, I don't think it was ripped off. I think the snaps just come undone and it flew off.
Just incidental there.
I think that was incidental, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was very close. I didn't see any clear rip-off or anything like that.
And that is a safety rule. Once your helmet comes off, you have to sit for a play, unless there is a penalty that if someone grabs your face mask and pulls it and it comes off, that you don't have to go sit out.
So it has to be a penalty. It doesn't matter if it was intentional, but they didn't call a penalty on it. There has to be a penalty called.
There has to be the penalty called.
Interesting. I didn't realize that. So if some reason the official missed it or decided not to call a penalty, but it was still ripped off, it doesn't matter.
Well, there's a reason it came off, and it was because he grabbed it. So they're
right.
going
They
to
should throw a penalty
They
if
should
they
throw
see
the flag.
it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. This was another encroachment penalty, but this one was against St. Mary's this time. So watching the defensive line right here, it's a little bit of a jump. I didn't think it was as egregious as we've seen before, but I guess
just has to break that plane of the neutral zone. Just get his head over the point of the ball.
And clearly Bath thought so because their O-line kind of jumped and pointed at the same time, and it's hard to not call it at that point, I assume. We've got a couple different things to look at this play, Bill.
Okay.
All right, so first off, we want to talk a little bit about Bath's pre-snap. So their offensive line would somewhat get set, but their hands wouldn't go down, and then they would look back at the coach for the play change. So is that legal? Is that okay?
Absolutely legal. Yep, they're not set yet. He can snap the ball when they're all with their hands on their knees, but once they put their hands down on the ground, they have to stay there until either a timeout or the play is.
Is that written in the rules, or is that just what has
No,
been?
that's written in the rules. You have to be set. Yeah.
So being set is having your hands down no matter what,
Yeah.
and until you put the hands down, you're not considered set under the rules.
Well, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to have to look that one up and read on that one.
Okay.
What it actually makes you set, because they don't have to have their hands down to be set.
Okay.
Just like right on this play right here,
They can
they
be
have their hands
snapped.
on their they can snap the ball when they're all standing up.
Because it seems like you said they have to be set for at least a second, but then if they don't put their hand down, that's not considered being set, or
Once they go down, though, they have to stay down.
Okay.
Unless you're a receiver, and then you can get up, and then you have to go in motion.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have to reset you have to get to another spot.
Let's look at the second part of this play then. There was a pass interference called here on the bottom on St. Mary's. Just wondered your thoughts.
Well,
And it's hard to see here with our angle because they're off camera and then they just kind of come on right before the penalty. But if you're looking at the bottom of the screen here, I think number 22.
yeah. If there's no contact he's allowed to run in that spot and cause the offensive player to have to run around him. And if there's no contact, there's no pass interference.
Is him running slower than the offensive player considered contact?
No.
Okay.
It has to be contact. He can run slower and make the offensive guy have to slow down or speed up to get around him.
As long as he's not initiating that contact,
Correct. Yeah,
he can be in his position there. It's very close because he is sort of to the side of him, and then he sort of forces in front of him. But also, it didn't look very intentional. It just kind of looked like he was just slower. He just kind of ran in front of him, and
it
was
never
in
has
that
to be
position.
intentional.
Okay.
Nobody. Most of the time, you don't intentionally try to foul someone, but.
Right. And we have an end zone view here too.
Oh yeah, let's look at that. That might give us a better look. Well, it looks to me like there's no contact at all. I think that's a clean play on the defense. He didn't put his hands on him, push him around, hold him, stop him up. He just ran in front of him.
So bad call there. Could have gone a different way. This next play then was a holding call against St. Mary's. So right there at the bottom of your screen, little twist there.
Yeah, he turned him around, and it's okay where he has him on the inside, and then when the guy goes to spin away from him, he has to let him go, because if you hold him and the guy had to turn his back to the runner. Watch the defensive player. See that? And so that's pretty obvious hold then.
And unfortunately, St. Mary's fumbled on that play, so holding call didn't get enforced, but still could have been a bad play there, no matter what. I thought this was interesting, and I could have pulled 4 or 5 different plays for Bath. They ran a few different types of screens, but watch how far the linemen are down the field when that is caught. To me, it just seemed like they were way.
Okay, let's go back and look at where the ball was snapped.
Yep.
Where's the ball snapped? It's on the line. On the 10.
It looks like it's on the
11.
8 maybe, or on the 11. Yeah.
Okay, and then stop it then when he catches the ball.
And so it's when the ball is caught, not when the ball is thrown.
Okay. So he's in that neutral zone, isn't he?
How many yards is it?
Well, there's an expanded neutral zone of 3 yards.
Okay.
Okay. So as long as the ball is caught behind the neutral zone, those blockers can go downfield and block.
Okay.
They can be in contact, they can be down the field, but the ball has to be caught behind the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
So they're
So he's
giving
close
him
to catching that behind the line of
Yes,
scrimmage.
he is.
Gotcha.
So, but if he catches that on the 10, since the ball was snapped on the 11, if he catches that, beyond the line of scrimmage, now that's going to be offensive. That's going to be ineligibles downfield.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's how that makes more sense then.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I didn't realize that. So he caught the ball behind the line of scrimmage, so they can be as far as they want
Yes,
downfield.
they can be down the field. Yep.
Interesting. Looking at the next play, this was a controversial targeting call across the middle here.
Targeting?
So the wide receiver caught it. They actually determined that it was an incomplete pass, that he didn't have control over it long enough because the ball did come out. But they also threw a targeting penalty here on St. Mary's.
Okay. It looks to me like he gets his head in front of him. It's below, actually it's shoulder level and below. Now, let's remember one thing, that in high school, the targeting rule isn't the same as what it is in college or in pros. In high school, all it has to be is you're hitting the opponent, can be from the offense or the defense. You're hitting the opponent above the shoulders in the head and neck area with, it could be an open hand, it could be a fist, it could be your forearm, your elbow, your shoulder, or your head. And it doesn't have to be the crown of the helmet. It just has to, you have to take aim. You're trying to hit them in the head. Mm-hmm. So that's where the targeting, you're aiming at hitting them in the head. And from this, I don't see that. It looks to me like he's trying to just make a tackle, and his head is shoulder length, it looks like to me.
Yeah, it seemed to me to be almost a reaction of physics by the official, where he saw the receiver's body turn like it had been hit in the head. But if we rewatch it, it really didn't look like that his actual
and in this
neck or head got hit at all.
In this instance, he probably should have held his flag, and then after the play, got together and talked it over with the two wing guys and the umpire. The umpire is once the ball's thrown behind him, he turns to look, and then on both sidelines, the head linesman and the line judge, they could have all got together, and they could have called that targeting after a 2-minute discussion.
So no harm in, hey guys, you got different angles of this. What
did you see?
Was the contact above the neck,
exactly,
or above the shoulders?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
That would have probably been the thing to do there, because from his angle, the guy stopped immediately and went backwards, but his head didn't snap, and so he probably should have held the flag and got some input from his partners.
This was another controversial play then on this big drive for Bath as they were trying to get back into the game. They threw this really nice pass, but we thought, and we're going to have to slow this down and watch it, but we thought that his first step after catching it was out of bounds. So the caught there, and then that right foot we thought was on the line or out of bounds.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to see right there with it's on the inside of his body. So
right.
From this angle, you can't see when he actually gets control of that ball. And the only guy that has a really good look at that is the line judge who's following that right down the line.
Now, what I also wondered is the line judge watching to see if he catches it first before he's looking at his feet, or is he looking at his feet the whole time, or is he trying to see both?
Well, it's tough. You got to make sure that he has possession of the ball and then look down. So that's a tough call. And in that instance right there is why they're always telling the players to get back, get off that 2-yard line. So that referee, when he's running down there trying to look at that, he can see if he's out of bounds or not.
And he can get as close as he needs to be to try to see it. Well, I thought it was a close call. I didn't think it. We slowed it down. It's easy to slow it down through Raider Nation Station and rewatch it and stop the frames, but I thought that could have gone either way because his one foot was inbounds, but then his first step was out of bounds, and wherever that possession in the middle was a tough call.
It's definitely a close call, and you have to go with what the guy saw, and it would have been a great catch. It was a great catch. Good
later
play.
on this drive, this was the touchdown play from Bath, and I thought it was a clear holding here from their fullback, 99 on the outside. If we can watch that one more time. So he's a fullback in the backfield right there, 99 on the end, and he grabs and sort of just hooks around there.
Kind of the same thing. Then he spun him around.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's right, where the play was made.
Yeah, exactly at the point of attack, and that 3 or 4 people would have been looking at that spot.
It's also not. Yeah, it's not in the middle of a pile. It's kind of out there on its own. I'm just shocked that nobody saw that.
Yeah.
But. Right call. I mean, am I correct in that?
Yeah,
I guess
I agree with you. He had his hand high around his shoulder, and he spun him. So,
I guess you'll have those sometimes.
There's
this next play. Then this is the final clip of our day, and we probably made the biggest fuss about this. But on the 2-point conversion try, they ran same formation, different play to the right side, sort of a naked boot here from the quarterback, and we did not think that ball got to the goal line at all. That's the side view right there. We've also got the Rider Nation station view, so we're going to have you take a look at that, and you can see him roll out. And great camera work from Doug Spencer there on the sideline. You can see he's sort of encouraging it to be out. So. You've had a chance to look at that. Then, what are your thoughts?
He was out of bounds. He didn't make the line, the goal line.
And
he was outside. The ball was outside of the pylon. When he dove outside of there, that ball has to be on the inside of that pylon to break the plane of the goal.
And the inside of the pylon includes the pylon itself.
The pylon itself. All he has to do is touch that pylon. Even if he touches the back side of it, that's going to count. You move that pylon, you're going to get the credit for it. And that pylon never, and that sideline view, he wasn't within a yard of that.
And we would always picture a piece of glass extending from the goal line, but that glass would theoretically stop at the end of the pylon,
right?
The
outside of the pylon, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And so from watching that, you thought that the ball never got over the pylon or
absolutely
or past
didn't.
the goal line.
From the sideline view, from the handheld, it didn't make the goal line.
Should the official be in the position to see that, I guess, or is that?
Yeah, he was there. He was on the goal line. The official was on the goal line. He was a little deep, but he backs up. He makes sure he's out of the way. So when that quarterback did get hit about the 2-yard line, and as he's diving, look where they ended up. They ended up right at his feet. So he was probably back there where he should have been.
Let's just watch that awesome sideline view here again.
He looks like he's going to extend it over, gets hit there at the 1, and he
tucks it in.
Yeah, he misses that. He doesn't break the plane of the goal line. It's outside the pylon. So that should have been a no call. That should have been a no good.
And that moved the game from St. Mary's up by 10 to St. Mary's up by 8. So it was a absolutely potentially pivotal.
Absolutely was.
An 8:56 left in the game.
That's a one-score game.
Right. So thank you very much, Bill. As you can see, we always have some interesting clips.
Absolutely. Those were great clips.
We hope we have some great clips from Friday night's win against Miami Trace here at St. Mary's. First round of the playoffs. We'll be back as long as St. Mary's is winning in the playoffs. If we're not for some reason, I want to thank you again for coming all year.
Glad to be here.
It's a good time.
And here's a trivia question. What grade Ohio State quarterback played for Miami Trace?
Ooh. Let's say, I don't know. Go ahead.
Art Schleister.
Art Schleister
came from Miami Trace.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll have to break that out maybe on Friday night's coverage.
Give that to Joe Ginner.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks again to our sponsors. We'll see everybody hopefully next week. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks for watching another episode of Rider Nation Station. Help us help you by subscribing on YouTube or following us on Facebook.